Hey guys, it's Jank from ultimaterc.com here to take you through a very important piece of maintenance on the Traxxas Slash 4x4. Now this is going to be about the plastic half shafts, the slider axles you have on all four corners of this Slash 4x4. These are not the same shafts as they've used on any other vehicle to date. They have a new design that is more durable than the older versions, and it has a lot less tolerance between the outer and inner pieces. So what I've gone ahead and done here, just to speed things up a little bit, is I've taken off one of the wheels and tires, and I've taken off the hex hub, and now I'm just taking out the outer suspension pin and set that aside. And when I pull this out, you're going to notice something that is very not right here. The shaft itself is not extending in and out. In fact, it's very stiff. That is completely bound up. What happens is that dirt and dust and little fine grains of sand get inside of the two pieces and interferes in the mesh between them, and it really gets ground in there, and what happens is that it just creates friction. This entire shaft actually becomes somewhat of a shock absorber, and it's literally adding shock absorption and dampening effect to your entire suspension back here. So what happens is that while I think my shock is set up properly, I'm actually adding a lot of resistance to the movement of the suspension, because this shaft is supposed to go in and out a little bit as the suspension compresses and extends. So I need to get this cleaned out, and this is something that you're going to need to do on the Traxxas Slash 4x4 on a somewhat regular basis if you have the stock slider shafts. If you don't do this, your suspension action will be compromised very dramatically. This is a big deal here. It can make the difference between your suspension working and not working at all, whether you realize it or not. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take this entire assembly off and then clean it up. So there it is, the shaft. Let's see if I can get this focused a little bit here. And you can see that there is grit and dust on the spline there. And it's actually the stuff that's on these larger surfaces that's causing most of the resistance. So I'm going to take these apart, and you can see it's really wedged together there. Take these apart. I'm going to clean them with just regular soap and water, clean them very thoroughly to get the loose dust off, and then I'm going to come back and work on them a little bit more. And there we go. Now they're cleaned, and I also dried them just to have a fair before and after comparison. And already, if I can fit them in, I can feel that it's a little bit more loose in there, but it's still binding. I mean, this inside shaft should be able to just fall right out. There should be no friction, or next to no friction at all. So these are still binding fairly badly. So now I'm going to take the next step to do this even more thoroughly. You want to take your inner spline and a sharp number 11 X-Acto blade, or something equivalent to that. You're going to run the blade across the surface, scraping it. So I'm not cutting in. I'm going to get in a little bit closer here. I'm not cutting in, I'm just going to scrape flat across the surface. Now you can do this with a piece of sandpaper, a very fine emery paper, but you want to make sure that you do it all in one direction. You want to go along the length. You don't want to just randomly create scuffs in every direction. Again, these shafts go in and out, so any grooves that you inadvertently put in there, you want to be in the in and out direction so that they can ride with less friction. I'm just going to go all the way around. Now your blade can actually start to round off a little bit and create a burr on the opposite side, so you can actually kind of flip around and start scraping in towards you. Just be very careful not to cut yourself. So now right in that sweet spot where the suspension really works, it's very, very loose, whereas before it was completely bound up. So you see, I didn't do anything to the grooves in there. I didn't do anything to the end. All that I worked on was just scraping off the outside surface of it. And this is done. This is ready to go. This will make a tremendous difference to your suspension action. So if you have tuned your suspension, your shocks and your springs to a set of shafts that are already bound up, you're going to need to retune. Now, the more times you do this maintenance, the smaller that inner shaft is going to become from scraping it down, and the less frequently you will need to do this, because there will be a little bit more tolerance, so you won't really be squeezing and compressing dirt in there quite so well as you drive. While you're doing this is of course a good time to clean off your suspension pins, and also to remount the suspension pin hole in your hub carriers, like so. Don't do it on the arms, do it in here. And it's also a good time, of course, if you haven't done maintenance on your bearings recently, it's a good time to do that too. And look for another video by me if you want to see how to take apart your Traxxas rubber sealed bearings very, very easily and very quickly, and wash them completely. So now I'm just going to go ahead and finish reassembling this vehicle, and I'm set. You got to do that on all four corners. The rears, for some reason, seem to get bound up the worst, but just check it on a somewhat regular basis. Just take your spring and shock off, just remove the lower bolt, and feel how hard or easy it is to move your suspension arm up and down. It's also worth taking this one outer pin out and just feeling it, just pulling it in and out. If it gets bound up, take it off and do that maintenance. It's going to help you out a lot. Now here's a fun comparison between the side that has been maintained here and the side where I haven't done any maintenance yet. Here's the side that has been maintained. Nice and quiet, nice and smooth. And here's the side that has not had the maintenance done on it. Alright, see you next time.